This is Political Analytical. I'm your host, Eddie Hill, along with Rick Warren and Gordon Park. Join us as we give our opinion concerning everything dealing with politics. We don't hold back, so prepare for a no-nonsense approach to the news, and no, we don't care about your feelings. Uncensored and no sugarcoating. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Hello and welcome everybody to Political Analytical. I'm your host, Eddie Hill. Along with my other hosts, we have Gordon D. Park. We have the incredible and sexy and talented Rick Warren. And we also have the shade anchor of the show, James Toops. And we have Danielle behind. Gentlemen, it's great to see you on tonight. I was running a little bit late, so I was trying to hustle to get everything started so we could get the show going. And yeah, it was like major hectic.
I had everything set up 1 hour ago, and I remembered the clocks because the Dallas game come on an hour later than what I thought.
Yeah, I think the time change kind of messed everybody up. I know it messed me up. I was outside working. I thought, oh man, I don't have that much longer to go. I got to get ready. And then I'm looking at the clock on the wall, and I have like an hour to go. And then I picked up my phone, and I had 2 hours to go. And I thought, oh, I got time.
Yeah, Dallas Cowboys are still well on their way to a successful year in achieving the first round draft pick for next year.
No, I don't watch any of that. I boycotted that shit.
Yeah, we know.
Right there with you. I haven't watched a single first game yet. Just these guys, they're making too much money to be on a political stage doing what they do, and I just don't support it. So
yeah, I don't either.
And I'm a big fan, but no.
Actually, you know, I see them. I see the commercials with them on TV, and it literally gets me sick to my stomach.
Oh, it did me this evening when I turned it on. I see them with all their pompous, pious attitudes about who they are and what they are in their multi-million-dollar freaking contracts, telling me who to vote or how to vote and everything else like that. I don't need that. I don't need that shit.
But you know, you are privileged.
Mm-hmm.
You are privileged. Yeah, we're all privileged on here.
You
can tell.
Okay.
Cool. I'm waiting for my privilege to kick in because I go to work every day, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for mine to kick in.
My privilege came in the mail yesterday. It was about see electric bill, water bill. Let's see what else. All kinds of good shit.
You are privileged enough to pay this shit.
Yeah.
We just jumped on. She said, hello. How you doing, Valerie? Pleasure to have you on here. And yeah, so if you haven't noticed on the topic, we're going to be talking about the corrupt fake media and how they're doing everything they can to protect the Bidens from this so-called Russian disinformation or hoax, as they put it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's going to be one of the main topics. And not only that, but we only have till Tuesday. You know, that was an 80s band. Love them. They were really good. But we only have until Tuesday.
Till Tuesday.
to actually get out there and vote and make a difference. Rick, what's your thoughts on some of this?
I tell you what I've seen so far on the disinformation and everything that's going on with this so-called, how do I want to put this, mainstream media bullshit as far as covering up allowing this to continue through the politics as we see it. I just don't get it. I mean, they have the evidence, they have the proof, they have the receipts, they have show after show after show coming up with all of this stuff, and it's pointing right to the Bidens, but yet we do not. And we even have Rudy Giuliani sitting there telling up on one of his shows with Steve Bannon that by Wednesday there's going to be some, as he put it, stuff hit the fan. So I'm just waiting to see what Rudy Giuliani is going to prepare and maybe enlighten us with Wednesday at some time.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that too. We also have Don Harris just joined in. It's only a hoax when it happens to them. Till Tuesday, voices carry. Our voices will carry. Tuesday, election day. Amen, Don. I pray to God you're right. Gordon, let's jump over to you real quick. Let's talk about this Russian hoax and how the media is twisting it.
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a prime example of what we're dealing with the media. Earlier or late last week, there was a Biden-Harris bus left South Austin going towards San Antonio. Was going to stop in San Marcos and stop in New Braunfels and try to have a tailgate rally, so to speak, right there. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, some guys got wind of what was going on, and so they got together and all in their trucks and their Trump gear, and they decided to provide an escort for the
that
safety.
was nice of them.
Yeah, for the safety and protection of those people on that bus.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So as they're going down I-35, and keep in mind the bus is in the center lane, and you had these trucks on the right, you had the truck behind, you had the truck ahead, and you had trucks in the left lane. And they just escorted them right down I-35 for their protection. They didn't want anything to happen to anyone. Okay. A white small SUV decides to try to run a Ford F-250 off the road.
No, how did that work out for him?
That did not work out real well for the Mazda, whatever it was, little MDX. At 65 miles an hour, the front fender got run over and the truck didn't feel it and kept going. And the news media came out and said, well, these Trump supporters tried to push and drive the bus off the road, and how these guys should be prosecuted for attempting to assassinate
the Biden camp.
Kamala Harris.
Well, I'm real curious to find out, just what their evidence would be that they could place forth proving that they had intent to carry out such actions.
Did you know that there is more FBI agents assigned to this case right now than there was anybody on the Joe Biden case?
Yes, I did.
They've assigned FBI agents to this case.
Wow.
Right. They did, and I'm going to one-up you. The Facebook and media has been flooded now with the actual footage of what happened. And you can see this white SUV coming in and zipping in front of one of the trucks and jogging over towards the center line, and then jogging over and making contact with the truck. Now,
yes,
anybody who's driven on 35 between Austin and San Antonio knows that that's a daily event.
Oh, yeah.
In NASCAR, they call that rubbing. It ain't no big deal.
That's racing.
That's just how you drive.
Yeah, right.
So, and then we've got this poor 17-year-old kid that's up in Idaho who is now in the fight of his life. Video came out showing that he was being knocked to the ground, beaten with a skateboard, and he retaliated by shooting someone.
Kenosha.
And now he's on trial for first-degree murder and attempted murder.
Even though he was just defending himself from
Even though he was just defending himself, but these are the things that the media is twisting. Yeah, I can do it too. I just did it. In fact, the people who were driving that escort down I-35 were in the far right-hand lane because they didn't want that bus to exit anywhere. They just escorted it right on through their territory down to San Antonio and left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but the way I phrased it made it appear as though we were doing the responsible thing.
Well, you realize that perception is about 99% of truth, whether it's real or not. It's how you perceive it. And the media is trying to get everybody that is a Trump follower and the ones that have not decided yet to perceive things a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
James,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk with you next. What's your some of this?
Man, exactly. You said it. You nailed it. Perception is reality. Something that I preach at work all the time. You know, if especially for my supervisors, if these guys, my supervisors at work, if they're not doing the right thing, then their employees perceive that as okay. Well, it's okay for us to do it too. But perception is reality, and that stems along with the media. So as far as the bullshit media coverage that's going on right now, it is what it is. It's straight bullshit. There are things coming out on TV that are untrue. They're lies. They're straight lies. And there's things coming out on TV, or there's not things coming out that need to be put out. How often do you hear anything about all this latest Biden collusion and stuff that's going on? Listen, Trump got impeached over a phone call that he put. It was a perfect call, and it was a transcribed deal where he could put his words on paper and show it to everybody. There was no evidence against him.
Everybody.
There was nothing against him, in fact, in evidence, and they still impeached him over a phone call. Yet you have a guy, Tony Bobulinski, comes out with tons of evidence and transcribed emails and text and all this stuff, and nobody's talking about it. So it shows you the bias in the media. It shows you what the media is all about and the way they're leaning. Now, here's when Trump does win the election. Let me rephrase. In 2 days, we have 2 days left. When Trump wins in 2 days, because he is going to win, how is the media going to get their credibility back? And you're already starting to see it shift a little bit. News. They put out the Tony story. They're the ones that broke this thing out and then got Tucker Carlson involved in it from Fox, right? Fox had not deviated, even though Fox is, I'm not impressed with Fox right now, but Fox is kind of staying, and they're playing the middle ground. Even when the Tony Bobulinski thing came out, it was the New York Times that put it out. And now you have CNN starting to kind of put out a few things that entice the right side a little bit. They're not so much leaning left right now. So my theory, it's a theory, New York Times, Washington Post, because a couple things out too, and now CNN is starting to kind of move away from such a far left agenda and such a far left radical thinking ground that maybe they're thinking, okay, Trump is probably going to win this thing, so we need to kind of back up and reclaim some of our credibility. After this election, what's going to be left? Fox is going to be out there still. CNN is the least rated news network out there. I think Al Jazeera has more ratings than CNN, which they should. They deserve it. But all these news media outlets are just starting to kind of go, oh, shit. So we've been supporting this side for so long. We better start doing something to kind of build that right base back up. I think that's what's going on. And it's a mess. It is a freaking mess. CNN is just, it blows my mind how much bullshit they put out there. that is not true, and that you can recap with reboot facts. You can come back to CNN and say, yeah, that's not true. That's not true. Yes, Trump is going to win. We are absolutely solid about that.
What about MSNBC there, James?
Okay, so MSDNC, which I like to call MSDNC.
Yeah.
Same thing with CNN. MSDNC, they have, what is that? The 5, I think it is, on there is just all these angry left people that come on and just talk nothing but solid bullshit. It is all they talk about. And it's all conspiracy on these folks, man. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. They can't back anything up with fact. So, and I think the target is this. I've talked to people at work, and I'll get their opinion and not voting, or why are you voting, and who you're voting for, and why are you voting for this person. And I have to be non-biased at work, but I can get an opinion. And they say, oh, that's what I've just been seeing on Facebook. That's what I see on Twitter and all this other shit. Well, let me tell you something. Mainstream media and the social outlets are hand in hand. Look at what Twitter's doing right now, blocking things, and really they're blocking, amendments right now, and it's working. It absolutely is working, because I'm talking to people firsthand at work, and they're saying, no, well, I've seen this on Twitter, I've seen this on Facebook, and I just don't like Trump because of he's a racist. And I'm like, well, give me something to back that up with. Oh, well, he's going to go to jail. He's going to get, indicted. Okay, give me a reason on what. And I bet a person last week, I said, look, I will give you $1,000, take you to the ATM machine right now if you can give me one reason why Trump's going to jail. And they couldn't. And I said, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll extend that offer to all day long. I will give you $1,000 cash if you can give me one reason why Trump's going to go to. And they couldn't do it. And by the end of the day, I pushed it. I went back and said, hey, did you figure out a reason yet? No, I hadn't thought of nothing. Okay. So, but that's the influence that social media is having on folks, right? And MSDNC, it's the same thing. When you get on a national outlet and you have access to all these people, that's what you have. You have people looking at the news and people looking at social media, and they're believing what they're seeing on the false news media networks and this fake social media platform. And that's what they're going by, because people, they don't want to think for themselves. They want to think inside of the DNC box. That's what they want to do.
Real quick, Dennis says Fox was bought by Disney. Now they own the entire media. And I'm going to tell you something else. We've also had the New York Post, which was tweeting about Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, and the emails and what have you, all the conspiracy, or not conspiracy, actually the facts about the emails and the corruptness that was going on. Twitter went ahead and banned them from their account, stating that all they had to do was erase their tweets about the Bidens, just get back on Twitter with no problem.
Yeah.
The New York Post said, we're sorry, we're not doing that. And they were banned for, I think, almost 2 weeks from getting on their Twitter account.
They just got their account back open. Did you see when Ted Cruz went off and had his ass in court? I don't know if y'all saw that, but Ted Cruz went in there and tore his ass up. I mean, he got on his ass, and it was amazing to see that. And this guy from Twitter says, oh, yeah, all you have to do is go in there, delete that thing, and then your account will be back active and this and that. No, you're still suppressing the media. You're not doing anything else but suppressing an opinion and a fact and anything else. But you know what? The bias on this is when the Trump collusion came out, they didn't suppress anything had to do with Trump. Nothing. So when this collusion and all this rumor and all this bullshit that had no evidence, they didn't suppress anything.
So, Rick, what's your thoughts on all this?
The media has type 1 liabilities.
Yes.
And that's all there is to it. They have twisted.
Type
they
5.
have. It used to be that Gordon, you, all of us on this show right now could pick up a newspaper, and it was pretty damn credible as to what you read, because journalism was journalism back then, and now journalism is so far out of the ballpark. I don't even know if that's a credible phrase to call them anymore as far as being journalists. What do you think, Gordon?
No, there hadn't been true journalism since Tom Brokaw. And to your point, James, these news networks, they're not worried about getting their credibility back. They don't have to. Because when Trump wins re-election, and I'm pretty confident that he will, it's going to be 4 more years of Trump bashing and everything that we can do to discredit the president of the United States rather than reach across and work with someone. So as far as them gaining their credibility back, they don't want to. They don't need to. They think they don't have to. And that's all there is to
I think
it.
the news outlets are going to, it's going to,
I'm hoping
news is going to turn into a reality show, I think.
I'm hoping that the Republicans are going to take the House back after Tuesday. I'm praying that the Republicans take the House back. I don't know if they're going to be able to, but if they do and Trump gets back in, that's going to be the best case scenario right there.
Yeah.
I have a feeling when Trump gets back in office, they're not going to hand the keys over to Biden. When Trump gets back into office, I guarantee you there are plans in place right now that we don't know about. Just like we didn't know about the rescue of those Americans the other night from SEAL Team 6. We didn't know about that. But there's plans right now. When he gets back in office, shit's going to go down. It's going to be impeachment here. It's going to be an impeachment over here. It's going to be term limits. I'm thinking they have a plan in place. They have to.
Not going to get term limits.
It's too insane, the shit that's going on. You don't think so?
You're never going to get term limits. Because in order to get term limits, you got to get it
Biden's
through the House
plan when he
through
gets
the Senate. And the only way that you're ever going to get anybody to agree to fire themselves after 8 years is to give everybody a strong dose of crack cocaine before the vote. I mean, I don't know of a single person that is going to go out there and say, hey, yeah, after 8 years, fuck it, fire me. Mm-hmm. You can't, they're not going to do it. There's nobody that will. I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't say after 8 years.
If that was the case, if
I'm gone, feel free, fire me.
If that was the case, Gordon, then why would anybody run for presidency? There have 4 or 8 years, and any time between those 4 and 8, you can get impeached.
Well, but see, that's the thing. You know, when we're talking about term limits and we're talking about putting a statute on how long people can be public servants. Public servants was not designed to be a career.
Exactly.
A public servant was designed to have. That's why they created 4-year term limits. You're only allowed to be there for X amount of years. And unless there's an executive order signed, which is backed by the U.S. Supreme Court, that isn't flooded with votes if Biden and Harris get in, or getting flooded with more Democrats when Biden and Harris get in, we're not going to see that. So until that time, we can forget about talking about term limits. It's just not going to happen.
Something more prevalent right now that's hitting the airways and other things like that. Eddie, we're looking at the left wing actually rising up into a security threat Tuesday night during elections. We're looking at the left wing and other groups rising up. If Trump does win, that there is militia on standby, and there are National Guards that have been called out to quell any disturbance, as far as they call them disturbances. But they're going to need a lot more than I think the National Guard, from what I'm listening to and what I'm hearing from other places, because they're just not going to accept. With Hillary coming right out. Gordon, remember when Hillary said, do not concede this election under any circumstances. Mm-hmm. That in itself is a tantamount to an explanation about war, political war right there.
Well, and if I'm Joe Biden,
basically it's a threat.
I know how many people have committed suicide with shots to the back of the head, I'm going to perceive that as a
threat. 2 shots.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to perceive that as this bitch is going to kill me if I concede.
James, you've been trying to
jump. Yeah, I'm surprised Tony Bobulinski is still alive. Right now, to be honest with you. He's in fear for his life. He is. And the interview that Tucker had with him was 2 hours before Tucker's show aired, and it was in a hotel somewhere, really nice hotel, but it was in a hotel somewhere. They recorded the show, and then they aired the interview. But getting back to the term limit, Gordon. So already Biden said that if he gets in office, he's going to do away with the electoral vote. He's going to do away with all kinds of stuff. And this is things that have to pass through the House and the Senate and everything else. But Biden doesn't have that kind of power to do this. And to mention on power, Biden can't even get a security clearance. If they give him the keys to the friggin' White House, he can't even hold a security clearance because of his involvement with China and Ukraine and Burisma and all this other stuff. He can't even get that. Yet he's out there saying all this stuff about he's going to do this, he's going to do that, which he hasn't done shit in the last 47 years. And within the last 8 years, him and Obama, the only thing he's done in his pockets and his family is set his people up and all this other stuff.
Okay, real quick.
It's ridiculous what he's trying to pull
here. So what happens when Trump wins and Biden does not concede? They're already planning on that. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Dennis Higgins says, if Biden wins, not only is this country over, the world is over. The deep state is now exposed. They know it. They're going to play their final card, and Trump is going to call them. What do you make of that, Gordon?
Well, that still goes back to NWO, New World Order, and I think that if Biden refuses to concede and say, you know what, I got my ass whooped fair and square, I'm bowing out, it's over, it's done. I think we're looking at UN troops on U.S. soil, or the attempt thereof.
Rick?
And I think
Yes.
that it's going to be. I think we're looking at back when we all sat in front of our TVs in the 80s and watched the Berlin Wall fall, and when Ronald Reagan talked to Gorbachev and said, "Bring down that Iron Curtain, bring down that wall." And we're looking at it, the USSR, watching them split. I think we're getting ready to watch the American populace and the American country split in probably 4 pieces.
Rick, what's your thoughts?
Yeah.
Guys, we're sitting there looking at, everybody says Tuesday night. Well, let me tell you something, okay? The mail-in ballots aren't even going to be counted thoroughly by Tuesday night. We have people that haven't even voted yet. We have people sitting there waiting in the wings to vote. And we have other people, the U.S. servicemen, that their votes haven't been counted yet. So Tuesday night, it's not going to be the wherewithal that everybody thinks it's going to be, because it's going to be one hell of a election. We're going to have a piece of time there that there's going to be confusion. There's going to be anger. There's going to be all sorts of things going on at that time. Because why? They don't know what's going on, because they want their man in, because we want our man in. And I see a lot of desperation in a lot of people headed toward not only the election polls, but in the streets.
Yep, absolutely. Gordon, I want to give this one to you because you're a constitutionalist. And Darren Wedlock says, could go crazy. Election dragged through the courts for months. Blue states succeed from the union, and anyone supporting Trump online is censored.
There's only a handful of states, Darren, that can legally secede from the United States. There's only a few. It's Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Mexico, and part of Arizona. That's it. It was the states that were part of the Louisiana Purchase, the original Louisiana Purchase. Okay, because there are 2 different forms of Louisiana Purchase, the one that was proposed and the one that was accepted. And the boundary lines are very, very different. Texas being the fact that it was its own country for a period of time. Granted, it was only a year, but when we became part of the United States as a whole, we had in the paperwork that we signed with the U.S. government to become part of their collectorate as a whole, the United States, was that Texas remains and will always have the right to secede from the Union if it is in the best interest of its people. That's why the Texas flag can be flown at the exact same height as the U.S. flag. No other state can claim that. No other state can legally do that. No other state flag, in fact, no other flag in the United States legally is allowed to be flown at a higher height than the U.S. flag. But Texas can be equal to it. So those states that I mentioned are deep southern states. Louisiana and Mississippi. Florida was part of the original purchase. They joined on their own right as separate from Texas.
Okay, Darren says, can countries form a new state, Gordon?
Can countries form a
counties?
I'm sorry, counties. I'm sorry, yeah,
Counties.
Can counties form a new state? That would be extremely, extremely difficult because, like here in Texas, we've got something like 380 some odd counties in the state. Oh, if the state of Texas was to secede, they would break it up into 4, and that would be based off of GDP, and that's the regions that we would use as our gross GDP would be where our state lines were drawn. Mississippi would join because and Louisiana would join. Why? Because fuck you, we're going to join. Texas is big enough where they can absorb us. Arizona and New Mexico are going to join because fuck you, Texas is big enough to absorb us in 2. But if the U.S. broke into 4 separate city or countries, it would be divided along the Mason-Dixon line. Except for California, and they would probably encompass Washington State, Nevada, and Utah, maybe Oregon, but that's a bit of a stretch. The original 13 would go back to being 1, and they would implode on themselves. Alaska, we would lose Alaska to Canada almost immediately. And then we have the southern states. And then we have what's left of the East Coast, Georgia, North and South Carolina. Well, North and South Carolina, they're both part of the original 13. Georgia, Tennessee, all those other states would conglomerate and become part of their own country, but their direct ties with Texas would be, we would be allies instantaneously.
All right. We're going to come back from break here in just a moment. James, I'm going to start off with you when we come back, and we're going to take off where we left off on this and see what the future may hold. So we're going to do a little tune real quick. Everybody stand by and be back in about 3, maybe 4 minutes, somewhere around there. So we'll see you guys back here in just a moment. And we are back from break. Welcome back, everybody.
Hey.
Hope you enjoyed the little tune that we played. James,
Eddie, before we get started, I want to throw a shout out to my cousin who is on here tonight, and it's Stephanie Rankin. Charmin, I told her to check us out and listen to us a few weeks back. I'm glad to see that she is. So, what's up, cuz?
Hello, cuz. How's it going? If she's your cuz, she's all of our cuz.
That's right.
That's right.
So awesome. So, James, let's start off with you. What's your take on all of this?
Hey, hey, Stephanie, what's up? Spread it around, pass it around, share it to everybody you know, and get them involved in the show because we love new people and we love all our folks. But so back to Danielle's question. So what happens when Trump wins and Biden does not concede? There's two answers. So there's a flip side to that too. So what happens when Biden wins, if Biden wins, which he won't, but what happens if he wins and Trump doesn't concede, right? Either way, there's going to be civil unrest. I don't care how you look at it. Either way, Trump wins, it's a victory, and it's going to be chaos from the left, Antifa, BLM, all this other. It's just going to be chaos. Here's what needs to happen. Trump needs to win in a landslide victory. It'll be 271 electoral votes. He needs to win in a landslide, 300 electoral votes. Probably won't happen, but that's what needs to happen. The landslide victory, they can't contest the election, right? Already Congress has put in place that they're going to extend the voting. They're going to extend the ballots and stuff. Trump said the other day, November 3rd should be the end all be all decision. It's an electoral day. It's a final day. That should be the day it's over right then and there, right? Let's just say in some shit world, Biden wins. What's going to happen? Trump and all their campaign, they have hundreds of lawyers on this. look at voter fraud. They're going to look at, cheating and all this other stuff. And both sides are going to do it because the left, Biden and all those guys, they all say that, oh, yeah, Republicans are cheating and blah, 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 and this and that. But look how much evidence has come out just in Houston alone. They've caught people dumping ballots in the garbage, in the trash bins and all this other stuff, lighting ballot boxes on fire.
Mm-hmm.
This is, Dennis, yeah, there will be civil unrest no matter what. Either way this thing goes, it's going to be civil unrest. Either way. The 3rd, yes, should be the day that it's over. That should be your election day. That should be like a court date. When you go for a hearing, your arraignment, your sentencing date is the date that you get sentenced to jail or whatever crime you committed. You get sentenced on that day. The 3rd should be that, but it's not doing that. So Congress and Trump is highly disappointed in Congress right now because they've extended that. So how long, and just like Rick said, how long are we going to have to go on with this thing, right? It's not going to, on the 3rd, I already told my folks at work, I'm like, hey man, so I'm going to be late come the 4th because I'm staying up watching this stuff. It's not happening. On the 3rd, I don't think we're going to have a decision on the 3rd. It should be, but I don't think we will.
No, I don't think we will either. And, like I was telling everybody, we were planning on staying up through the election until it was over. We had, a winner. I don't think we're going to get that at all, even though we're going to try and see what happens. But I think it's going to be like, I don't remember who it was that said on there, but they said it was going to be something that's going to be tied up for a while. And I tend to believe that. I tend to believe that it's going to be tied up for a while.
And I can say this, Eddie. I can say this. 2 weeks ago, I said it to a bunch of guys. I was like, look, for the next couple of weeks, put your seatbelts on because it's going to get rowdy. It's going to get crazy. And the more I think about it, the more I'm starting to lean towards, you know what? From election day, put your seatbelt on that day because from there, it'll be crazy. It's going to be a shit show for the next week or two from election day on. I mean, election day is going to be like Super Bowl Sunday for the nation.
I'm going to disagree with you there, James. You don't put your seatbelt on when you see the wreck happening. You put your seatbelt on before the wreck happens. They should already be buckled up, buddy.
It's going to be bad, guys.
I agree.
It's going to be bad. Come Tuesday.
I agree.
Starting tomorrow, we're going to have shit hit the fan, and it's going to be bad. And just hold on to your horse because it's going to.
I think
it's going to go crazy.
And Gordon, I agree with that too. I totally agree with that too, Gordon. And in the sense of, Tuesday is the day you should really be like, we should be on our toes now. We are. This right here, and everybody in that comment in that chat right there is on their toes right now. But the nation as a whole should be on their toes right now. And starting Tuesday is when you're going to see some really hectic shit. I think, in the last week or two, we've seen the Biden emails and all this other stuff come out. But really, I don't think that has any effect at all. All this stuff that came out on Biden, and I know what Giuliani was trying to do. He was trying to do that to where folks can shift their narrative to the other side, right? I don't think that worked. I don't think you're going to sway a lot of people. There's in Texas, we have like 9.7 million votes have already been cast in Texas, right? They're getting 150 million votes this year. I don't think you're going to sway people. So the folks that voted for Trump last time are going to again. The folks that voted for Hillary last time, I'm not convinced they're going to vote for Biden. I'm not convinced of that at all.
Guys,
come Tuesday.
Dennis says this is a good time to exercise.
Go ahead, Rick.
Rights, and I agree.
You know what, guys? As I said,
every day of the year for the rest of your life is a good time to exercise that.
Yep. I want to go,
guys. As I sat here and listen to everything that's being said, and I look at the chat room, I want to ask you guys honestly to give your opinion to me about one thing. I want to know. I really, really want to know. And I want to ask the people in the chat room to do the same after my question here. Did you ever, as a United States citizen, of America, the most powerful nation in the world, our nation under God, as we grew up as kids, pledging allegiance to the flag, did you ever, in your wildest thoughts, ever think that you would be listening to a show like this tonight, talking about the implosion of the greatest nation on earth, the implosion of a government because of electoral votes and elections and everything else like that, the implosion of the American people because we may have to pick arms up and defend ourselves? I'd like to know.
Gordon?
Yes.
That's a great question.
Yes, I did. And I was even right at what age? Not 43 exactly, but I said in my 40s I would. Not that I would be on a show talking about it, but I knew. And I knew because I was smart enough as a preteen and as a teenager. You know, when we used to sit down and eat family dinners, my mom and dad always used to have the news going on in the background. And since I was at the age where my parents were dumber than shit and I never listened to them anyway, I listened to the news. And I could see it. I could see it headed that way. I could see to where the mob was going to eventually take over. I could see to where the United States was eventually going to fall in on itself because we have one side who wants to control the mass populace so bad that they will use whatever they can to control us. And I know my history from the Roman Empire. Rome fell because of two reasons. One, because they were fighting wars on multiple fronts. And number two, they were too big. But number three, it's because they didn't ever tell the people, because it was for the good of the nation. They didn't ever tell people, no. Oh, you want more free shit? No problem. Here it is. And that's what we've done for the last 30 plus years. We've committed a mass genocide with the abortion clinics. We've gone above and beyond to desecrate what our forefathers spent years fighting for. From when the Mayflower landed on Plymouth Rock to 1776, when we started a fight with the country 3 times our size and strength, with nothing more than flintlocks. We fought, and we have done nothing but piss it away.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. I saw it too, Gordon. I saw it too. Maybe not as long ago as you did, but I saw it coming because every American citizen that I saw on election days, or every American citizen I saw on TV or the news or anything like that, was just going right along, just like a bunch of lemurs jumping off the cliffs. Okay, let's do what everybody wants here because it's for the good of the country. And no one really took responsibility nor accountability of exactly what we're going to vote for, or what our accountability should be to one another as citizens of this United States.
So I always thought there was going to be some kind of civil war, but really thought about the reasons for it, right? And would never have guessed that the reason for a civil war would have been over. And if you think about it, such dumb shit.
Exactly.
Look at what the left and their narrative is pushing. It is such dumb shit. And I never thought that the reasonable people would have a war over fighting over such dumbass shit. You know, like common sense versus people basically eating mushrooms. Like these people are they're wired different. Their brains don't think right. but this is what we're going to go to war over. Like, think about Civil War. When you have, people fighting over slavery, that's an issue. That's a real issue. Okay. These folks want a civil war over, late term babies being born, abortions, free college, needing a safe space, trees, bullshit global warming. Get the fuck out of here. You want a civil war over that? Okay, cool. Could I tell you something? All my friends back home in Louisiana, and most of these people that I know up here, sit in a tree all day long to make one kill for fun. For fun. They do this shit for fun. Okay.
Yes,
and you're going to bring your Antifa bitch ass from Portland that don't know shit about hunting and fishing or anything else and come down here to the South and try to fuck with anybody. You're barking up the wrong dead tree. I'm telling you that right now.
We got too many hogs down here and too many places to dispose of the bodies. We're not worried about it.
We shoot hogs from helicopters for fun, and we pay for that. Imagine on a rooftop for free, some idiot with a Molotov cocktail in his hand, and I could pick him up from 300 yards. I got a bad bitch in my bedroom right now.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. And this is what they want. They want a civil war against folks like that. The fuck out of here. You got your feelings hurt. You got to go to a safe space. Remember that guy that got shot in his bicep?
Mm-hmm.
And he's on the street. He's one of these Antifa guys. Y'all seen that? This in his bicep, and now he's trying to sue whoever. Come on, dude. To me, that was a misplaced shot. It should have been a better shot and got him in the head. Honestly.
Yeah, I struggle with a lot of this stuff because James, you're right. We will sit in a tree for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and to shoot one thing
for fun.
For fun. And we do it on our days off. Now you want to tell us, hey, we're going to pay you as part of a military organization to do that? Shit, sign me up. But there's a
right.
There's a different aspect of this, a different thought process behind all this. These guys, sure, they talk a big game about, oh yeah, we want to take it to the streets, we want to fight you guys, we want to do all these things, and we want to, the guys that need a safe place. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
But let's actually think about this for a minute. Do you really think in a battle where there are bullets flying that you can stand up and say, hey, time out. I need to be in a safe space for just a few minutes and regain my composure? No.
I would dare say, Gordon, at this point, there is nobody, only a very few of us, that has ever been in a firefight. And let me tell you, when you're in a firefight and those bullets are whizzing, there is going to be that separates the men from the boys, point blank. What do you think, Eddie?
Absolutely.
Yep, definitely. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And you all guys know what I do.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Eddie, you're probably the only one of us that's ever been in a firefight. I don't know about Rick. I know I haven't. The worst firefight I've ever been involved in was with Nerf bullets.
Yeah, I mean it's a totally different animal when you're out there and you hear the sound of these little bitty projectiles going by at about 3,200 feet per second. It's definitely gets your attention, and you can hear them going by without fail.
Yes, you can.
I've cleaned up firefights. I've cleaned up the mess of firefights, and had to actually help people been in firefights, with bullet wounds and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll tell you what, man, these guys, they're not ready, but either way, boss, there's going to be problems. Come Tuesday, I think the riots are going to start on Tuesday. And I think there's paid activists out there, and there's people. Y'all seen the train today, like we talked about earlier, that just ushered Kamala Harris out of here. And I mean, she couldn't spread her leg enough to get a damn rally going in Austin today against our Trump folks. And don't even get me started on Nancy Pelosi. I won't even go there tonight.
No.
This is a 1 hour show, James, not a 2 hour.
I know. Well, look, hold on. I will say this. I will say this right here. If it was up to me, and this is the only thing I'm going to say about Nancy tonight, I promise. If it was up to me, I'd push her face in a big ball of dough and I'd make monkey cookies out of it. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, I'm telling you, all this is going to start tomorrow night. I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff starting to happen tomorrow. When the sun goes down, get ready. Darren says, your whole history has been one of fighting for freedom. That doesn't stop after the election.
Agreed.
I'm going to disagree with both of you guys for just a second. I think that we will start seeing the bullshit tomorrow. I think you're going to start seeing polling places in large cities being burned, being looted. I think you're going to start seeing rural areas attacked. Their voting and polling places are going to be attacked and burned.
I think so.
I think that they're going to do whatever they can in order to adhere to the Tuesday is drop dead day, and they're going to try to limit the amount of people that they can get out, that Republicans can get out.
Not only that, Jordan, but you have to remember the Republicans did put out voting booths for people to do drop boxes, and if those aren't lock and key and under armed guard, they're going to be targeting any Republican type voting area, and they're going to be trying to do their very best to get rid of any ballots that they can find.
That's right.
They'll try to torch them like they've been doing. They'll try to, and it's, historically Republicans vote on election day, right?
Yep.
I think we're seeing such a big swing in voting right now. Texas is 9.7 million votes right now. I think the swing that we're seeing, that uptick in voting, is new voters and Republicans voting early. And then you got to watch the silent majority. They've been saying it for a long time. I think that's what's going to push everything on election night. That's what's going to be. That's my thought on that. It's on election night. You're going to have all these Republicans out in an election. All the old school cats that say, "Oh, I'm stuck in my ways. I'm going to vote on election night." Hey, come on with it. Do it. That's what we need.
All right,
Gordon,
Rick.
you're probably, I guess.
We have
seen you raise your hand.
We have about 2 minutes. Rick, I'm going to let you take it out real quick, and we'll do closing statements.
I just want everybody right now that's in the sound of my voice and can hear these words. I wish you safety. I wish that it didn't have to come to this. And I will be honest with you, it didn't have to come to this, but it has. And I hope you safety, and I hope you, your home, your kids, I hope everybody is safe throughout the forthcoming days. Because I think there's going to have to be a unity here of everybody watching each other's backs coming up, even now as I am speaking.
Absolutely. Gordon?
Well, I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. It's time to wake up. We're in the bottom of the 9th inning. And in my opinion, we're a little bit behind. And we need to step up and do what we need to do. There's a lot of people out there that are that I know of that are concerned about their personal safety, and they would rather live through the next 4 years than take a chance on becoming hurt going out to vote on election day. And this is something that I haven't said in a long time, but I'm going to bring up something that I used to say back when I first started with Eddie on this show. Quit being a pussy. You've got to get out and vote. You've got to get out and make your voice heard. You've got to get out and exercise your privilege and your right to vote.
Call me. I will take you.
Rick will take you. If he has to fly somewhere, hey, Rick, just submit your receipts to the show. We'll reimburse you. Or there's a Clydesdale in the stable. You can take that.
James,
You better get a double saddle. Shit.
James,
Gordon, I hate you. You're an asshole. But I love you, brother. And I'm going to co-sign for Gordon, man. I say it all the time. You need to get out there and vote. And I think, this is our last show, until Wednesday. And by that time, man, what a show that's going to be.
James, we're going to be going live Tuesday.
What's the plan? Yeah, what's the plan for the show?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Live Tuesday. Okay, good. Cool.
Still same time.
Fucking A. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, good. So Tuesday we'll be live again. So Gordon, I'll co-sign Gordon. Get out there and vote. But I think at this point, if you want to wait until election night, by all means, go for it, because that'll intensify that silent majority that shows up, and folks be like, "Holy shit! Look what showed up on election night." And here's the other side, the flip side of that. If you don't go out and vote, if you don't poll, I don't want to hear a damn thing about either turnout. If Trump wins, if Biden wins, I don't want to hear your opinion. If you vote, to me, you don't have an opinion on that.
Exactly.
Your ass needs to vote. If you don't have an opinion. And I don't want to hear any bullshit out of you, because you have a voice at that point. You had a voice before. If you don't vote, now you don't still. So I don't want to hear it.
Golf clap.
Yeah. Wait, Darren brought up slobber knockers will not win.
Another one of my coins.
That's some kind of New Zealand term or something.
I like that.
No, it's one of my coins.
Slobber knockers may not.
You never heard of a slobber knocker?
Really?
Sexiest voice in radio whips out the slobber knocker term. Come on, man.
You know what a slobber knocker is?
Slobber knockers. I have no clue what the fuck is a slobber knocker.
In there,
So Danielle says, unfortunately,
Shout out to my buddy Rick Arredondo before we sign off. Hey Rick, man, get on the way. Good to see you, brother.
Danielle says, unfortunately, we're fixing to go into overtime, so we shall see. I hope not, but I think it's looking that way, Danielle. And Darren says, LOL, I love that word ever since I heard Gordon said it.
Slobber knocker. Slobber knocker. Where does your slobber come from? Your mouth.
My knocker? I don't know.
Yeah, slobber comes from your mouth. And when you get punched in the mouth, you get knocked. So you got knocked in the slobber. So it's slobber knocker.
Now I had a whole different terminology for the knocker part, but okay.
I call it a cocksucker.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep this PG, maybe PG-13, but no, we just went straight to X.
It's kind of late for that, bro.
Hey, that would
that crossed the line right there.
James terminology for Nancy.
We ought to put out a dictionary on the shit that we say, what it really means.
Mm-hmm.
The Clydesdale. Right. I'm sure that one of our listeners and one of our viewers out there is going, what the fuck does the Clydesdale have to do with anything?
Inquiring minds want to know.
Oh,
all right, folks. Well, that's pretty much it. I just want to let everybody know that we thank all of you for showing up on the show. We appreciate it. We love you guys. Like James said, get out and vote, y'all. I mean, seriously. I mean,
yes.
You got to have an opinion. You got to take a side on this one. You can't sit it out. You can't sit there and just say, I don't like either one and hope for the best, because it's going to turn out bad. you need to get out there and vote. Like your vote is going to be the one that sways it left or right. Make a difference. Get out there and vote. Everybody's vote counts. And especially right now, if you're voting Republican, because of all the ballots that are getting jacked. So, I mean, we need to get as many out there as we can so that there's no denying the fact that Donald Trump won. And what are you showing right there, Rick?
He voted.
I voted.
Oh, I voted sticker.
Okay. So, you know, it's just one of those things. You got to get out and do it. I mean, it's a privilege to be able to vote. It's our God-given right to get out there and vote. You know, we have to get out there and take a side and stand by it. Don't sit there because you hate both sides that you do nothing. Because then you have no voice, you have no say, and you have no right to bitch.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just the way it goes.
Absolutely.
but
It's our obligation to do this.
It is. It really is. But we love you guys. We're going to be going live Tuesday night, 8 p.m.
8 a.m. 8 p.m. Excuse me.
8 p.m. We're going to be going live, and we're going to be looking at some of the results. We're going to be putting some of the stuff up on the screen that we pick up. It's going to be a long night, but we're going to try and stick it out as best we can. And hopefully at the end of it all, we'll have some good news, unless, of course, what Danielle predicted comes true. And we're going to be ending the show with no winner yet in sight, which is something I'm hoping that we don't have to do. But remember, spread the word for Political Analytical. Get it out there, everybody. Please post it to your pages, post it to your friends' pages, post it to your relatives' pages. Get it out there everywhere you can. And remember, we turned this show into a podcast, so get the podcast out there as well. We always post it after the show. We take the audio and we turn it into a podcast. So until Tuesday, I think that's going to be pretty much it, you know, for us for now. Keep a close watch on the news.
I would like
and make sure your friends out there to vote as well.
Say one more thing, Eddie. I want to say one more thing. Gordon, James, Eddie, it's been an honor to share the field of battle with you, and it will be an honor to share the field of battle with you Tuesday night as we go through this.
Yeah, and it's an honor.
Absolutely.
Back, Rick.
We'll share
and I appreciate
this victory. We're going to share the victory together, brother. We'll do this.
Absolutely.
Just remember,
I'll be here.
Remember, shots fired. You know, get ready just in case.
Exactly.
Until
yes, sir.
Then, take care. We love you guys. Be safe out there. Watch out for you and your families. And we'll be praying that everything goes the way it should. Take care, everybody.
Good night.